The title of today's presentation is Whistle While You Work. So sports in which whistles are utilized by officials are the following: basketball, football, volleyball, flag football, lacrosse, hockey, and soccer. In this presentation, we will talk about when we blow our whistles, the frequency of our whistle usage, our reaction and responses from our whistles, who should blow the whistle, and the process that leads to our usage or non-usage of our whistles. Chapter 1. When. When do we blow our whistles? On time, cadence, early. So the majority of our whistles should occur when the conclusion of a play necessitates the need for a whistle by rule. There are times when a whistle is necessary by rule, but should occur late. There are times when a whistle that is necessary by rule should occur on time, but does not. A late whistle would be appropriate in this case. Early whistles should never occur, with one notable exception. Can you think of what that exception might be? Chapter 2. What and why. What causes us to blow or not blow our whistles? Why do we blow or not blow our whistles? The process for blowing our whistles. Start. The play or rally begins. No whistle should occur whatsoever. Develop. The play or rally starts to develop. Unless a violation of the rules occur, no whistle should occur whatsoever. Finish. The play or rally concludes. Unless a violation of the rules occur, no whistle should occur whatsoever. Decide. We must replay the play or rally in our heads. Has a violation of the rules occurred? Whistle. Did a violation of the rules occur at the conclusion of the play or rally? If so, then whistle. What and why? Among all the different sports in which officials use whistles, there are a few common reasons that we use whistles. Start and end of the quarter, period, half, or contest. Beginning of a play or rally. Violation of the playing rules. Illegal contact. Timeouts. Correctable errors. Unsportsmanlike conduct. Chapter 3. How. How do we blow our whistles? Let's go into how do we blow our whistles. Volume. What is the volume of our whistle? Is it soft, medium, or loud? Do we vary in our volume? Quantity. How many tweets of our whistle do we use for each occasion we are required to blow? Does it depend on the situation? Length. What is the duration of our whistle? Drop/pull. After blowing our whistle, do we pull the whistle from our mouths or do we let it drop automatically? And voice. Do we use our voice after we blow our whistle in communicating our rulings? Chapter 4. Who? Who should blow the whistle? Most contests requiring officials to blow whistles have a minimum of at least 2 officials. We will assume that we have this minimum for this presentation. The primary covering official. In situations where we are speaking of play situations, we desire for the primary covering official to have the first on-time whistle on illegal contact or violation of the rules. In situations where we are speaking of play situations, we desire for the secondary covering official to have a cadence whistles on illegal contact or flagrant violation of the rules. For all officials. In situations where we are speaking of unsportsmanlike conduct, we desire for all officials to be prepared to have a whistle. Depending on the situation, it may be required for a whistle to be on time, late, or early. In situations where we are speaking of timeouts, we desire for the covering official nearest the requester of the timeout to have the first on-time whistle. However, all officials can have whistles for timeouts. For the primary covering official, in situations where we are speaking of the beginning of a quarter, period, or half, the rules of your sport usually will dictate that only the covering official will have a whistle to start the quarter, period, or half. Now for all officials, in situations where we are speaking of the end of a quarter, period, or half, the rules of your sport usually dictate that the covering official should have the first whistle to end the quarter, period, or half. However, secondary officials can end it as well. For all officials. In situations where we are speaking of correctable errors, we desire for all officials to be prepared to have a whistle. Depending on the situation, it may be required for a whistle to be on time, late, or early. Hopefully, we will not have to address a fight situation or a potential fight situation with players and coaches. However, early multiple whistles are recommended by all officials, especially if they can prevent a fight situation. Chapter 5. What? What are the reactions and responses from our partners, coaches, players, and fans? Once we blow our whistle, here are some things we should consider. Are we moving when we blow our whistle? Strength or lack of strength of our signals. Our facial expressions. Strength or lack of strength of our voice if necessary. Do we pause or not? Are we prepared to explain our rulings in layman's terms using rules terminology? Once we blow our whistle, here are the people that will have reactions and responses. Let's keep in mind these responses could be positive or negative or both. Your partners, coaches, players, and fans. Are we prepared for these reactions and responses? Does your whistle command and or project strength, authority, confidence, respect? Let's take a look at reaction and responses and the standards that we should have when dealing with reactions and responses. Time. Timing is everything. Most whistles should always be either on time or cadence. Allow plays to finish if all possible. Strength. A whistle with regards to plays should be strong enough to stop the action. A whistle should be strong enough to garner attention. Location. Who is blowing the whistle? We would like proximity to dictate primary for almost all whistles if possible. Emotion. After blowing our whistles, we must have a professional calmness in our reactions and responses. Explanation. We should be prepared to explain our rulings in layman's terms using rules terminology. Let's summarize what we have learned in this presentation. The process for most whistles will follow the process of SDFDW, that is start, develop, finish, decide, whistle. You may recall we talked about this earlier in our presentation. We should do our very best to be consistent in following this process for blowing our whistles. We cannot blow our whistles without following the standards given in reactions and responses. If we cannot follow these standards, then we should not blow a whistle, let alone have a whistle to blow. We must have a big picture mentality for blowing whistles. We must consider, does the call fit the contest? Will we consistently make this call in the contest? Is the call explainable in layman's terms by rules terminology? Can my partners match my call selection later in the contest? We would like to give credit to SlidesMania for use of this presentation template and Unsplash for the use of images in this presentation template. Thank you for your time. Thank you for spending part of your day or night with us. We hope you gained something very valuable from this presentation, regardless of the sport that you either officiate or participate in. We wish you well. Have a great day. Have a great week. Have a great year.